there everyone and welcome to Market FataFat right here on ET Now. It's a tempered market at hand in the midst of the earnings season and just 2 days prior to the budget announcement. The markets as we speak are at about 10,639. It's 2 points off on the Sensex, but we've got a whole host of stocks that are going to light up your screen. So let's bring on board then Mubina, Kunal Labotra as well as Siddharth Bhamre and Gaurav Ratnaparki, who are joining in to dissect all of the stocks. And begin first with the newsmaker. Finally, the Kapoor smoking the peace pipe, if you will. Mubina, what's the latest with Yes Bank?
Well, yes, looks like a truce is in sight as Rana Kapoor as well as Madhu Kapoor have finally ended that decade-long battle between them with respect to the composition of the board of directors. Now what we understand is that both of them are going to be nominating one director each on the board. This is something that's being viewed as very positively. Do remember, it's the second great set of positive news coming in for Yes Bank. First, of course, being the appointment of Navneet Gill, and the second one being calling a truce when it comes to the between the co-promoters. Do remember that this is something that has been long drawn. Macquarie does believe that this is a positive development and they have an outperformed stance on the stock price, which has, by the way, given off those opening gains.
All right, watch out for Yes Bank. 202 is where it's currently at. Well, let's move on then and focus in on the next stock, and that's Kaveri Seeds. Gotten off to a fairly decent start. You believe, Kunal, that it can continue with this? How much more headroom?
So yes, Avan, and it's broken some key breakouts, or rather indicator breakouts on the daily time frame. Cloud patterns on Ichimoku front, indicator fronts on RSI as well as on MACD are showing signs of good positive movement on the daily charts as well. The stock has been making a pattern of higher highs and higher lows in the last 2 weeks. So I believe that the trend is in favor of the stock and it should continue to ride up higher. The next swing high is at 605, and that is where I think short-term traders could place a target on Kaveri Seeds. Suggest a buy, stop loss at 570.
Nickel trends looking strong. This is a buy candidate. Meantime, a whole host of results expected today, but among the lot is a name that's standing out very smartly ahead of its numbers, and that's ICICI Bank. Well, profits are seen higher by 15% at 1,900 crores. The net interest income is seen growing to 6,730 crore rupees, up nearly 18%. The net interest margins could be stable on a sequential basis. Slippages could potentially moderate. Provisions, though, will remain high, while loan growth is seen in the range of 12 to 13%. Moderate corporate loan growth is seen, and overseas book could decline. Watch out for management commentary on the outcome of the RBI divergence, the NCLT resolution, especially to SR, as well as the overall loan growth and NPA trends. Moving away from that then to a stock that's seen quite a decline in trade today, and that is Piramal Enterprises. From 2148, the stock has skid all the way to 2026. Gaurav, how much further of a decline are we going to see? Is this a lucrative opportunity to enter?
Yeah, that's right. Basically, the stock on the weekly chart is showing a 5-wave decline, and the same has been retraced in a 3-wave manner till 38.2% retracement mark. And over there, the stock faced resistance from its crucial weekly moving averages as well. So from around the level of 2400, the stock has resumed larger downtrend, and overall structure shows that the stock has a long way to go on the downside. So I'm expecting it to test its October low, which is as low as around 1795, with potential to head even lower.
All right, potential to head even lower. 1795 is seen on the cards. Well, let's move on then and talk about a large cap stock that is not really providing too much respite to the markets. Banks, private banks, some of them are holding out, but HDFC Bank not following the trend, Siddharth.
Yes, last trading session we did see formation of short positions. Before that we saw unwinding of long positions, and today too we are seeing formation of short positions in HDFC Bank and HDFC Limited. Stock is trading below its 200 DMA, so not a good sign because HDFC Bank has highest weightage in Bank Nifty, so watch out for Bank Nifty. Though one can say, ICICI Bank and Axis Bank have done fairly well to stabilize Bank Nifty, but this stock warrants attention.
All right, that's the take coming in on HDFC Bank. Okay, let's move on then, Kunal, and talk about Exide Industries. Why does that stock merit a buy?
So look at the volumes in the last 3 days. Avan, the volumes in the last 3 days cumulatively are almost at a 2-month or a 3-month high for Exide Industries. Today, so far, the cash volumes have almost equaled the last 2 days of volumes, or that increased volume patterns, and that indicates that maybe the stock could have formed a short-term bottom around this 215-220 zone, and you could see some bit of respite or revival in terms of the stock price over the next couple of days. So that's a buy 230 as a target on Exide Industries and stop loss at 215.
All right, that's the take coming in. Watch out for a stop loss at 215. On that note, tell you what, we take a quick breather on the show. Stay with us as the countdown continues. This is Market FataFat. Welcome back to Market FataFat. Vivek Gambhir, Managing Director and CEO at Godrej Consumer Products, with us on the show to analyze the volume plunge in the quarter gone by, as well as some of the other metrics like profits, which have come in at 423 crores. Thank you so much, Mr. Gambhir, for joining in. Let's begin by talking about the volume growth, the lowest that we've seen in the FMCG sector. And you were working with a fairly high base. Your closest peer did not have the base in their favor, but still reported a decent growth for volumes. So what exactly has happened with your volume growth this time?
You know, a more representative way to look at the volume growth numbers is on a 2-year CAGR basis, simply because the base quarter had lots of GST rate changes which got applied and impacted different players differently. So on a 2-year CAGR basis, our volume growth has been 10%, and that has been very consistent with the kind of growth we have seen in Q1 and Q2. If we look at our market share positions across our categories, our market shares have been holding up and are increasing. And if I look at the kind of innovations that we are launching, it augurs very well for the progress that we are making and the outlook for the quarters ahead. So in some ways, given the high base effect, I would put Q3 more as a temporary blip, but certainly our expectation would be to deliver much stronger growth in Q4 and the quarters ahead.
Okay, fair enough. Now, the next 2 quarters, we will see your base continuing to stay high. So does that mean that we can expect low single-digit volume growth continuing into the coming quarter? Or do you think you're confident about the overall demand environment strong and that'll help you push through, revive your overall volume growth?
No, I think the important thing is that if I look at the kind of innovations that we've launched over the last couple of quarters across insecticides, hair colors and soaps, and there are plenty more planned over the quarters ahead, along with the great work that the team is doing on the distribution front, certainly our expectation and our plans would be to drive double-digit volume growth.
Now let's talk about segments. The household insecticide segment that continues to see difficult times. What's the reason? Because you had maintained that illegal incense stakes. Do you see that as a problem abating anytime soon?
You know, a big change event clearly has been the emergence and the prevalence of illegal and unsafe incense sticks. We are actively working through the industry association with the government to try and control this illegal phenomena. At the same time, we have launched a fully natural Goodnight Neem Agarbatti. It's a pilot launch in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana over the next couple of months. But depending on how well the launch does, we will scale this to the rest of the country. So certainly I think we do intend to, as the market leader, drive the category growth and play in this format as well. So I'm hoping that a combination of launching incense sticks along with some other launches that we have done, which includes a liquid vaporizer machine with 50% more power and the Goodnight Power Chip to upgrade coil consumers. A combination of all of these new launches, which have happened over the last few months, should get the business back on a much stronger trajectory.
Now, you've also mentioned for High that you see weak monsoons that have impacted sales. But what extent does seasonality play a role there? Because earlier we've seen it do fairly well even in the monsoon season.
Overall, while the monsoon was not bad, the northeast monsoon was 43% deficient all across India. And unfortunately, over this year and the previous year, the monsoon has been more deficient in the south of India, which comprises of over 30% of our insecticide business. And so we've been hit by an adverse monsoon for almost a couple of years, particularly in the south of India. Having said that, though, I think our efforts will be to develop the category, expand the category, and try and find ways to reduce the seasonal fluctuations. It is a seasonal category, but our job, given the low penetration rates, particularly in rural India, will be to focus on growing the category and find ways to reduce the seasonal impact.
Hair color segment, you have taken some price cuts. Is this in order to improve your demand? What sort of increase in volume can we see, and what are you targeting based on the kind of cuts that you've taken?
In our hair color category, there are two big initiatives that have been going on. One is that we've launched a henna-based powder under the Nupur brand a few months ago, and that's been doing very well. The second has been continued growth in the creme segment. Our creme shares are at an all-time high in December. Having said that, though, there's tremendous headroom for growth in the creme segment, particularly in rural India. So as we're looking at driving rural penetration and upgrading powder consumers to creme, we have launched a temporary price off offer to reduce the price of expert creme from rupees 30 to rupees 25. It is a temporary price offer to see if this can stimulate demand and drive a rural penetration. Depending on how well this offer does, we will take a call in the later part of the year on what the pricing strategy needs to be. But clearly, given the low penetration rates in rural India, we remain very excited about the growth in this category. And along with the focus on creme and powder-based henna color, we will also be launching another very exciting innovation in hair colors over the next couple of months.
Now, we have seen this time around that your international business, that has fared quite well. Ex the divestment growth in double digits after 3 quarters of very strong growth in Indonesia and Africa. Do you think that this is going to continue?
Yeah, we are very pleased with our performance in Indonesia. For the first 9 months of the year, it's been a 10% growth and a 12% growth in EBITDA. So both recovery in top line growth along with healthy expansion in margins. I think Q4 should be even stronger for the Indonesia business. The Africa business has been doing well, but it's still short of our expectations. We do believe that the business can and will do much better. So across the board, I think India and the Africa and the US businesses are showing a very strong growth trajectory. We do have some concerns with the Argentina business, which is going through a lot of macroeconomic turbulence. Fortunately, it's the smallest part of our portfolio, and our hope is that the outperformance in Indonesia and Africa should compensate for some of the challenges that we are seeing in the Argentina business.
You know, speaking of the international business, Latin America has disappointed. Would you consider giving the portfolio a relook, because you also saw the UK portfolio being axed?
The Latin America portfolio is a very important part of our overall portfolio. It's a well-performing portfolio, very focused on hair colors, where we have significant competitive advantages. And both Argentina and Chile are market leaders in hair colors. The Chile business is also market leaders in depilatories and a strong number 2 in makeup. So if I look at the portfolio, it has a very strong fit with the rest of the Godrej business. What we're seeing is a temporary slowdown. The businesses have performed very well till about a few quarters ago. And given the kind of strengths that we have in the team and the kind of innovations we are launching there, I am very confident that after a few quarters, you will see business return back to its historic growth.
And what about margins? What is the reason that there's been zero expansion this time around? You have mentioned that in the next quarter, gross margins will pick up. So what is going to drive that growth?
Yeah, the gross margin dip was temporary simply because in Q3, we did see an increase in crude oil prices and the impact of rupee depreciation. But given the recent trends that we are seeing, with crude oil prices again coming down and the rupee stabilizing, our expectation is that you will see gross margins improve. Also, we have launched a lot of cost reduction projects, and typically those start showing results in the last quarter of the year. So the impact of a more favorable input cost environment, along with the good work that the teams are doing on cost reduction, should enable us to deliver stronger growth margins.
And finally, you've spoken about a lot of launches, which is Godrej's forte. So what can we expect then in FY20, especially even in terms of your overall top line growth as well as your profitability? What kind of guidance can you leave us with?
typically about 30 to 40% of our revenue comes from new products. And over the last 6 months, we've had some very exciting launches. The first powder to liquid hand wash, new Goodnight Power Chip. We've just launched agarbattis, a 50% more power liquid vaporizer machine. Across the board, the first priority would be to scale up these launches. Alongside with that, we are planning for some very exciting launches, both in hair colors, in the soaps and personal care segment, along with, I think, launches in air fresheners as well. So the momentum and the efforts to be the most innovative company in our categories continues.
We wish you all the very best. Many thanks for joining in and giving us a deep insight into your overall volume growth, the outlook for the business, as well as plans going forward. But GCPL investors continuing to read into that volume disappointment as well as margin disappointment, and the stock is under pressure. Completely timed out right here on the show, but we also want to inform our viewers that you now have the option to choose to watch whatever channels that you like. So avail of the Times Now News and Movie Pack.